What is going up, everyone? Thanks so much for tuning in to another podcast. I know it's been quite some time since I released one, but came across Sam Fonseca, who is currently a partner and VP of operations for one of the fastest growing hot chicken establishments, not only in LA, but across the United States. He's also had the opportunity to work for some big heavy hitters and brands such as Raising Cane's and In-N-Out Burger. So I'm super excited to have Sam share a little bit more about, these brands and, what he's learned in the hospitality space, and hopefully it could provide some value to you. But Sam, thank you so much for taking some time today. Do you mind just sharing a little bit more about, what you're building over at Dave's Hot Chicken? Obviously a young, fast-growing company. I saw that you guys just opened your first location in Texas and started off as a small little shop or just street vendor in Los Angeles. So I'd love for you just to share, briefly what you're building over at Dave's.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, and I appreciate the time, Mateo. It's great. I am humbled by this opportunity to talk about something that I'm very, very passionate about. Dave's Hot Chicken, I've had the great fortune to work with Dave's Hot Chicken. Actually started right when the pandemic started, right? So I started in April 1st of 2020, and there was already 3 restaurants built. It is a fast-growing restaurant chain. We've only been in existence for 4 years. So we started off, you nailed it, the founders, Tommy, Gary, Armand, and Dave. They started off, from humble beginnings, right? They started off in a parking lot. They started just cooking chicken in their apartment, for 6 months, trying to nail it until they felt like it was just a great product. And then they said, where are we going to go? Where are we going to open this restaurant? Well, they started off in a parking lot, right? So one of the founders, Tommy, right across the street from their parents' flower shop, Tommy and Gary, they decided hey, this would be the place. It's a parking lot. So they just put up an easy up, saved up enough money to have one fryer, and then they went at it. And first day they sold, $30 worth or $40. The second day it blew up. They doubled their sales to $90. And then the third day, they had a great article that was written by Farley Elliott from Eater LA, and they drive up and they have a line. And they're like, is that for us? Right before they get there, they didn't know if they had enough chicken. They didn't know how long the wait time was going to be. And, that's how it started off. It started off with these really passionate individuals that wanted to do something great. And now these guys, they're rock stars. When we open up a restaurant, they walk in, the crew's pumped up, they're going into, certain businesses and they're wearing their Dave's gear, and it's just awesome. So I got a chance to meet him. We became a franchisee of Dave's Hot Chicken with Elevated Restaurant Group, and it has just been an awesome ride, right? So think about I ended up leaving Raising Cane's, which is an amazing company, right? And in my head, I'm like, I didn't want to tell this to my wife, but I'm like, dude, we're at this beginning of this pandemic. We don't know what's going on. At night, I'm going to be quite honest with you, I had some pretty worried nights because I'm leaving a great company where things are going great, right? Where I can possibly foresee myself retiring with this company. Going to a company that I'm not sure, it's startup, it's the beginning of a pandemic, people are staying home. Is this going to work? And I will tell you, man, it has been an amazing, amazing ride. I came on board, then sales just took off, right? And throughout this pandemic, we've made some strategic moves to make sure that we're great for our customer, for our team members. We had to look at our operations and make some changes. So corporate did a fantastic job of really making the proper adjustments to just take off. And just as you mentioned, thank you very much for saying it. We just opened up our 14th restaurant, and every single month this year, we've opened up a new restaurant. And from here on out, every single week, we're going to be opening up a restaurant. We're so fortunate and blessed to do so. So, man, I can't tell you how happy I am, how proud I am of the brand. And we just keep, getting better and better, right? So we're definitely learning. We're still at a learning stage and still growing, but we have some great people that have come on board on the corporate end. We have Bill Phelps, who is an amazing CEO. We have Jim Biddix, who's our COO, and he's, had the same, great mentality and focus for growing the brand. So very, very excited, as you can tell, for making the switch over.
So I actually live in not too far from the Northridge location, which you guys turned into from a Chipotle to a Dave's, and like it's already like blowing up. It's crazy because like whenever you guys open up, it's just like I'm like, oh, there's gonna be so much traffic on Reseda now because they just opened up a Dave's. Like, what's been the secret sauce to this like massive scalable growth that you guys like? You can put it in the middle of Iowa and people will like just run all the way. Like, I don't know, for a business that's like relatively young, you have so much influence in like this emerging hot chicken market, if you will. Like, what's the secret sauce there?
Well, it all goes back to what the founders did, right? What the founders did is they really worked hard to come up with a great product. And one of the founders is Armand. He is fantastic at marketing the product and putting the product, on social media. And, it's all in the craveability of the product. If you have a great product, right, and you go somewhere, you try it out for the first time, and it just blows your mind, you're gonna want to come back, right? And you're thinking like, man, there's not one open by me, but I can't wait to get it again, right? So it's that craveability factor. The product has got to be great for people to talk about it, right? Right now, just yesterday, I was in the city of Glendora, right? And we're sitting down interviewing some folks to come on board with us in the near future. And I walk up with this shirt with this little chicken head, right? It doesn't say anything on it. And the kid at Starbucks goes, damn, I love Dave's Hot Chicken. And I'm like, are you kidding me? There's not one around here for 40 miles. How do you know about Dave's Hot Chicken? He's like, oh, how do you not know about it, right? So it's just awesome. Like, this uniform doesn't say anything Dave's Hot Chicken other than our logo. Somebody picks up on it, and it all comes from a great product. You have a great product, people are going to talk about it, people are going to post about it, there's going to be an excitement there, right? So you could do the best job marketing in the world, right? But if you don't have a product that has that craveability, right, then unfortunately things are going to work out very well. You're going to spend a lot of money marketing, but the product has got to taste great, and that's what we love. If you look at the size of our tender, people ask us like, is that what is that? Is that like a breast that you guys cut in half? And I'm like, no, that's the size of our tender, right? You leave full. You leave like, man, it was great from the first bite to the last bite. And you have so much food that you're going to end up having some later on, right? So I think that's what it is. I think it's not, it's I know. It's the product. The very first time that I tried the product, right? Like I said, I didn't think I was going anywhere. I thought Raising Cane's was my baby, right? And I went into the North Hollywood location at 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday night. This is prior to COVID. This was sometime, I want to say like in December, November, October. And try the product. First bite, I'm like, oh man, this is delicious. There's so much flavor here from the first bite, that I knew, oh man, this product has craveability. I couldn't wait to get back out there from Ontario and drive all the way back and have my family taste it, right? So it's a product. It's a product. People talk about it, people enjoy it, they really love it. Just recently, you talked about that we opened up a restaurant in Dallas and it's doing fantastic. Thank you for bringing that up. We also opened up a restaurant in
Oh,
Oregon.
wow.
Okay. There's not a Dave's Hot Chicken anywhere near, right, Tualatin. The population is 25,000 people in the city of Tualatin. It was cranking. So when you say, like, hey, you can put it anywhere and there's a line, man, it was awesome to see that, and you were just so excited because you thought, like, man, we weren't quite sure what it was going to do. And once we got out of the LA market, man, we were just been blown away at how awesome our customers are, that they're coming out there and they're waiting in the line. It was raining at one point in Oregon, and man, they were still out there. So our customers are really, really a special bunch.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I can already imagine this is going to be like a household name when people think of like hot chicken. But I know,
Yeah,
Sam, I
that's
know
it.
like before we hit record, we were talking a little bit more about like some of the amazing brands that you have worked for, like Raising Cane's, In-N-Out. Like anyone knows in SoCal, like if you want In-N-Out burger, you're going to have to wait at least 20 to 30 minutes in line, but people do it. And you notice that there's a lot of similarities and a little bit of differences, but it all unique to like these brands. Like, do you mind sharing like from your experience, like working for these like heavy hitters, In-N-Out Burger, Raising Cane's, and now Dave's Hot Chicken? What have you noticed as far as like what these businesses do that, lead to this like great success or like high growth, or people are willing to wait in long lines for this like product?
Well, all three, there are some similarities, and it's awesome, right? Like I told you before we started, I'm writing a book on the amazing similarities of great brands, right? And these three great brands, I'm a huge fan of all three of them, right? I currently am wearing this uniform, and this is my baby now, and we're going to kick, you know what? Man, when I first started off in the restaurant industry, I was 17 years old working at In-N-Out Burger, right? And I can't tell you how many mentors I still have from that company. Okay. It's been years since I worked there, but I still talk about the teachings that, at my first day on the job, right? You can go and work at different places, and they could put on a video, and, it's somebody that, probably doesn't work for the company, but they're the ones that come out on this video and they talk about, the focus of the restaurant. Well, at In-N-Out, I had my general manager, and he was there on my orientation. He did the orientation. He talked to me about the company. He was the one that trained me hands-on, right? He's the one that showed me like the importance of slicing tomatoes properly. He was the one that showed me how to peel the potatoes, right? So we're back there getting nasty on the potato peeler, water coming out of everywhere. My socks are wet. He's right there with me, right? He's right there with me because he understands the importance of our product and great training, right? So this gentleman, his name is Rick Pendleton. He is somebody that I talk about all the time. He taught me every single step, right? And then I remember, it's so funny. So it's awesome. You want to work inside the kitchen, right? You want to work inside the kitchen because that's where everybody's at. Well, they start you off, cleaning tables and work in the back of the house. And, when they call you into the kitchen, it's almost like you made the majors. Like you come on in, right? And it's all about pride. It's about the pride and the, in the work that you do, right? So I remember handing out a drink one time, right? So I'm working at this really busy In-N-Out Burger in Pasadena, and I'm about to hand out a drink. I'm handing out a drink, and as I'm about to give it to the customer, and then Rick Pendleton goes, "Sam, bring that back in, Sammy." And the customer's right there, right? So Rick is holding my hand, and he's like, "Sammy, look at the side of that cup. There's some soda going down, dripping on that side of the cup." Now I know that your parents taught you to take pride in what you do. And we don't hand out that cup like that. So you're going to clean it, and then you're going to hand it to the customer because you take pride in what you do. So this is going back to 1994, right? Still one of those moments where I'm like, whoa, take pride in what you do. If you're going to do something, be the best at it. Take pride in what you do. You show your workmanship and show that you take pride in who you are. I have great role models in my parents, right? And they taught me about, you don't leave the house until you look right. Okay. You want to make sure you look professional. You want to make sure you take pride in who you are, how you speak, what you do in life, right? And then you go to work and they're saying the same thing. They're reinforcing the great teachings of my role models at home, right? So when you talk about the correlation between these three brands, they take pride in what they do. They love the product, okay? They are not jack of all trades, master of none. They do one thing and one thing great, right? So we're not looking at bringing in different things into these three concepts, right? In-N-Out is known for their delicious burgers, right? I'm probably going to get one today, right? Absolutely love the product. Love the product. If you, as a consumer, you only see so much of In-N-Out. I can tell you it is fantastic. All the steps that they take to provide you that burger, right? Same thing for Raising Cane's. They do a fantastic job of getting you a great product, right? They call it One Love. It's the one thing that they focus on. They're going to do a great job at it. Same thing at Dave's Hot Chicken, okay? We take such great pride in what we do, right? We don't try to be, jack of all trades. We want to focus on one item, and we want to do the very best, right? So those are some of the similarities, right? A focus on selecting great people, a focus on pride, okay? When you go to work, you're going to do your very best to put out a great product. A focus on customer service, okay? A focus on training. All these three brands, they all have a mission statement, right? Well, I'm sure most companies, if not all, have a mission statement. But there are some companies that live by that mission statement, okay? And there's other companies that it's just something that they have on a wall. And the companies that I've had the great pleasure to work with, they really live by their mission statement. They want to make sure that they deliver a great product. They want to make sure that they hire great people. They want to be great in their communities, right? These aren't just things that are posted up on a wall. It's a living document, right? And I think that's one of the things that I've noticed from these great organizations is, they're going to put together a mission statement. They're going to live by it. They're going to live by it, and they're going to make sure that their customer feels great. They want the product that's either on a billboard or, on their menu to look like what you're going to get, right? What you're going to get. So those are some of the similarities, but man, there's like 10 chapters that I've thought about. And, if I can tell you, one of the chapters that I think about is integrity in the product, integrity in how they take care of people, integrity of, really focus on quality. If it's not something you would eat, it was so simple. It's been so simple, even to this day, as we're training our new hires. If you wouldn't eat it, don't serve it to our customer. Okay. Sometimes the most easiest, basic understanding of what's the right thing to do just puts you at a different level than other folks, right? So there's so many different parts to it, but there's integrity, focused on quality, a great product, not doing too much, not confusing your customer. You're great at what you do, and this is what we're going to serve. And if you're looking for something else, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to provide that product for you because we focus on this, and this is This is what we love to do.
Thank you so much. I mean, it just,
Yeah.
I see that, especially like at In-N-Out, at Raising Cane's, and now Dave's, and it's the ambiance in Dave's is like unlike any other. I think there's like a rubber chicken in the back, like in behind I think that's like where the fire extinguisher goes. Like what is that? Is that ambiance? Is that like branding? Like how do you build sort of this like fun environment where it's more than just on top of the great product? It's just like you walk in and it's so colorful, and like employees are just absolutely cranking in the back. Like how would you describe what that is? That branding? Is that ambiance? Like what is that?
You know, it's a culture that you want to rock and roll in, right? So if you're gonna go to work, right, let's have fun. Let's, come in there, have fun. You're gonna handpick the people that you go to work with, right? That you go and have fun with. And so we do we work our butts off to make sure that we hire slow, that we're looking at like, hey, this person here is going to be right next to you, right? This person here is really going to impact like the environment. What kind of culture, what do you want to be known for? We want our customers to come in and they should feel it. There's this, magnetic connection, right? Where it just feels great, right? And you're a consumer, I'm a consumer. I can feel it right away if it's kind of awkward or if it's quiet. No, we want music playing. We want people that are going to come in and you just have this connection, right? We don't want, the founders have done a fantastic job in going like, we don't want cookie cutter, right? We have a specialized team that goes out to our restaurants prior to opening, and they just come up with some stuff that just makes a restaurant really pop. Every, different, these three different concepts, whether you're talking about In-N-Out, there's a certain look, right? There's a certain look. When you see the cross palm trees, that's where the treasure is. You just know like it's going to be white. They're going to have red. They're going to have these palm trees that look a certain way, right? And you know what you're going to get when you walk into an In-N-Out throughout the United States, right? If you go into a Raising Cane's, there's also a look there, right? They're going for a certain look. They're going for a certain connection with the community. You walk around, you go into a certain restaurant. There's some things on the wall, right, that you're like, oh, this means that it's, Torrance, all these people went to Torrance High School, what have you. When you walk into a Dave's Hot Chicken, there is an awesome, it's different, right? So we have street graffiti. It's fun. You come in, there's music playing. Our CEO talks about, Bill Phelps talks about our logo, right? He says it's one of the ugliest logos that we can come up with, but it's funny and it's us, right? It's us. And that's who we are. You talked about it, and I'm so glad that you brought this up. At every single restaurant, we do have a fire extinguisher, and inside there you have a Dave's Hot Chicken in there, right? But we're not the serious type. Where you're gonna walk in and you're gonna see me, wearing a tie, and we like to have fun. We know our demographics. We know our customer, right? Our customer wants to come in to a place where they're going to enjoy it. They're going to have a good connection. They're going to have great product, and they're going to look around and they're going to take pictures. Man, every single one of our restaurants, you could walk up and you can go to a certain wall. I think, right now I'm thinking of Koreatown. You walk up to Koreatown, there's a beautiful wall where you want to take a picture there, right? You go to Tualatin, Oregon, and there's a wall that looks so beautiful, right? And it looks like mountains and green, but when you look closely, it's written in Dave's all over the place, right? And the guys that do this, Slaughterhouse and Demp, they're the two individuals that do this, the street graffiti at our restaurants. They're fantastic individuals, and it just looks awesome. And you see customers while they're waiting for their food, they're taking pictures of the restaurant. And man, it's so awesome that our customers are taking pictures of the restaurant. It's not
Yeah.
often that you go into a place and you take pictures. You're taking pictures of their food, but man, our customers are taking pictures of like, I can't wait till the next Dave's Hot Chicken opens up and see what they put on their walls, right? So, um, all that is an extension of who we are. It's an extension of our culture. It's what we want to provide for our customers. A fun place to come eat, and
Yeah, it's
and
really like
and have
tailored
fun.
to the location too, which like it's just it's like unique, even though it's the same brand, the same business. Like it's not going to be the same
Hmm.
cookie cutter even at the different locations, which I love that, just being very tailored.
Yes, yes, yes. And man, there's a whole process. There's a whole process that goes into that, right? And I love sports, so I look at everything like from a sports set of eyes, and those are our stadiums. There are fans that are coming in there, and they're going like, "What are they going to do here?" Right? Well, how's this one going to be different? Right now, we're in the process of building out Lakewood. It's going to be our
Nice.
first drive-through in California. A little plug-in, Clark and Kennewood. Can't wait. Lakewood, California. And we go in there and we're like, what can we do here? Right? And we almost give the guys that come in and do everything, we give them a blank canvas and we go, all right, let us know when we can come back and check it out. Right? And it's awesome, right? So in Pacific Beach, the Dave's is surfing, right? The one in Pacific Beach is surfing. The one in different locations, they're in a spaceship, right? So they're in a UFO
Hmm.
spaceship in Glendale, so we want to have fun, and we want our customers to enjoy
Yeah,
their
that's
beautiful
awesome, man.
stadium.
Sam, I know this is kind of a little bit pivoted here, but I got to give a shout out to Cal Poly Pomona. I've had a lot of friends that have graduated from the hospitality
Yes.
program. If anyone listening here is either like a alumni or like currently enrolled or just like interested in your passion for like growing these great brands and businesses in the hospitality space, do you have any like pieces of advice or words of encouragement for someone sort of just starting off their career in the hospitality space?
Man, I absolutely love my time at Cal Poly Pomona. I was working 50 hours a week at In-N-Out, and also a full-time student at Cal Poly. And it was great because you would go to work, right? And then you would go to class. And I remember this class, it was on queuing and keeping the customer busy so they didn't have to think about time, right? So there was just a great correlation where I would go to work and then at night I would go to school. And the stuff that I was learning at school, I was thinking like, how can I apply this to In-N-Out? How can I apply this to where I work? Man, it was crazy because I was going to school, I was going through my classes, but I was really focusing on what I'm currently learning, you know, from a textbook, from a great professor. How can I take this back and apply it at work today, right? So what I will tell you is don't if you're taking a course on whatever it is that you're taking a course in, right, and you're at Cal Poly Pomona or at another great school, and if you're passionate about something, that imagine that class could have been very, very boring, right? Could have been very boring. A class on how to design the queue, a line, right? And how to keep your customer busy so they don't have to think about time. That class could have been one of the most boring classes I've ever taken. But instead, it was a class that I'm still talking about years later, okay? Because I learned, like, man, what can you do, right? And some of the things we talked about at Dave's Hot Chicken, that customer's not going to be thinking about, the wait time. If I give them a beautiful restaurant to look and look at, oh, look at this, and they're taking pictures of this, and now they're taking selfies, and now they're talking to their family how this restaurant is different than the other restaurant. Man, you can go all the way back to a textbook, and you really have to take out, it's what you put into that class, right? What you put into that class, and when you start thinking about it, and when you're in that class, you know, man, you're trying to see how can I connect this, what I'm learning from Cal Pomona, tomorrow at work, right? And I would go back, and at that time I was a shift manager at In-N-Out, and I would ask like, hey, have we thought about doing this? Have we thought about doing this? And it really makes you become very creative, and then you start hating the status quo, and you start looking at things totally different, right? And you apply this, what you're learning in school, and you apply it at work, right? So that's my best advice to folks that are currently going to school. If you know what you're passionate about, right? If you know what you're passionate about, man, get your hands working in that field. Okay, get your hands working in that field. Ask, questions. Man, people used to see me walking up and they're like, "Oh God, here comes Sam. He's going to ask me like, how many questions is he going to ask today?" Right? Well, man, it was just fueling me. I was getting data from hands-on. I was talking to customers. I got to meet Esther Snyder, who was a founder of In-N-Out Burger. Her and her husband Harry, right? And then I got a chance while she's waiting for her burger. I got to ask her just a couple questions, right? And man, you talk about that's a master. You're going for a master's when you're talking to the founder of In-N-Out Burger, right? I got to meet Todd Graves, the founder of Raising Cane's. Man, you talk about an amazing individual. Amazing individual. He so many people told him no. Okay, no, you're crazy. You're crazy. And the same thing with Dave's Hot Chicken. You guys are crazy. Like these four young guys, probably have, I'm not going to kid you, they probably had like $900 to their name combined, right? But they said like, no, man, we're going to go out there, right? So we're going to go out there. We're going to go out there in the cold. We're going to be in a parking lot. We're going to do this. I think it takes a little bit of crazy, to be great, So, I know that Todd went to school. He definitely got his degree. The four founders for us, they went to school. Dave, went to chef school, and he's a chef. But I think ultimately it comes to like passion, right? Passion. If you're going to school, and if you're going to school, have that passion to learn, and then have that passion to take it one step further and apply what you learned. If not, then you're just going through the motions, right? You're going through the motions. And I was not a very good student in high school. I had a lot of fun in high school. I probably graduated with like a 2.8 GPA in high school. I got to Cal Poly, and it was amazing. First of all, I had to pay my way through school, so I'm not going to get a 2.8 if I'm paying for it. And what I was learning, I was applying, and I was 4.0 student, because now it's like hitting the ball with the bat in the sweet spot. It was my sweet spot. I was learning great things at In-N-Out with great people, great mentors like Rick Pendleton, Louis Margisano, Jaime Marquez, Carl Van Fleet. My gosh, like just great people. And then I had great professors teach me at Cal Poly. I'm going to share with you about Carl Van Fleet. Carl Van Fleet was the vice president of operations for In-N-Out Burger. He has now retired. You talk about a great leader. Hands down, best leader I've ever worked with. Hands down. You would go to a function, an In-N-Out function. He would walk up to you. He would greet you. He would greet your spouse, right? First name basis, right? At this time, I think we had about 250 restaurants. And I was in awe. How did he know my spouse's name, right? And I just watched him, and he was so knowledgeable, so humble, one of the smartest guys I've ever known. So then I stood back at that event, and then I would watch him with the next individual. Knew their first name, knew their spouse's or significant other's name, and I just couldn't believe it, right? Couldn't believe it. And so I asked his executive assistant, like, how does Carl do this? He said, well, I'll tell you. He has me quiz him, and I'll have a restaurant number. I'll have store number 5 in Pasadena, and I'll say, who's the general manager? and they say, Sam Fonseca is a store manager. Great. Give me his spouse's name. Boom. He did this. He was getting quiz. What does that tell you? That people are important to him. That you're not only going to know the store manager of every store, but you're going to know their spouse, and you're going to blow them away. And so you were just like, oh my gosh, this individual runs a multi-million, billion, corporation. He's thinking about, where to open up, what strategic moves he needs to make. But what's important to him is his people, right? His people. Just imagine what you walked away with when you're like, man, that person made me feel really special, and he made other people really special, right? So that's an individual that, man, I could write a whole chapter just on him and what I learned from him. And people are important, right? So I think that's a huge thing for myself, right? I will never forget that. And then it becomes very difficult. I call it, it's a blessing and a curse. Okay. When you work with people like Carl Van Fleet, Jaime Marquez, Louis Marchesano, and In-N-Out Burger, it's a blessing, because when you're working with them, you're just growing exponentially, right? When you're no longer working with people like that, it's a curse, because you might never work with another individual like that, right? So, that's one of the amazing things about all these brands, is that there's great people that really care about you and want to see you move up. And now I'm in a very in that position myself, where it's important to me. It's important that I know our people. It's important to in the restaurant industry. One thing that we call days off recover days. We don't call them days off. It's a recover day, because you're just so busy in the restaurant industry, right? You have to tend to so many people. You're a host every single day to thousands of people, right? Which is awesome. One of the things that we're doing with our group is we're providing a 4-day work week for our managers. And that is saying, I believe that you're going to do a great job, right? And instead of looking at hours, how many hours you have to work a 50-hour work week? No. Give me 4 great days, okay? I'm going to look at your performance and the restaurant's performance, and how well you train, how well you connect with your customer. That's what I'm looking for, right? Instead of how many hours can you give me, right? So by us doing that, we're attracting great people from companies like In-N-Out, which for myself, I thought I would never be able to bring great people from In-N-Out. Great people from Raising Cane's are coming on over, because they're like, man, I'll give you 4 great days of work, and you give your family 3 great days, right? Dude, give me 4 days at 100%, and give me 3 days at 0%, and give your family 100%. You don't think that these guys are going to come in here guns blazing? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for some great people, where I've been an operator my whole life. Your family took a back seat sometimes, because you want to perform, you want to perform, you want to perform, you want to perform. But then you're like, I'm not very good at performing as a husband or a father. No, hold on, there's something wrong here, right? So I definitely feel like, we're gonna do a great job providing a 4-day work week. We're gonna, outperform a 5-day work week, and this is not an idea or something that we think might work. This will work, because I'm very committed and passionate about it, right? So, that's what we're hoping to do. I'm hoping to work my butt off to be hopefully the next Carl Van Fleet, working my butt off to provide a great great opportunity for
Sam,
high
thank you so
performers.
much, man. Like this has been some amazing insight for me, and just having your experience and expertise and sharing that with us today, it really means a great deal. And I thank you so much. I guess for any of our viewers here who want to learn more
Thank you.
about maybe finding the closest Dave's Hot Chicken to their house, or maybe just wants to pick your brain specifically or ask you some questions, is there a good place to reach you?
Thank you very much. Again, I'm humbled for this opportunity. You will definitely find me at a Dave's Hot Chicken. We're excited. We're on our way to opening up some great restaurants in the LA market. Really, really excited about that. I am on LinkedIn, so Sam Fonseca on LinkedIn, and you'll see me at the restaurants, and you'll see me out with the community. Where that's that's a big, big deal for me. Is connecting with our customers, is really doing the very best at serving our customers. So that's where you'll find me. You'll find me at a Dave's Hot Chicken. We are growing. We are expanding throughout the nation. We have some restaurants opening up in Toronto, in Canada. So that I'll be in the LA market. You can look me up on LinkedIn again, Sam Fonseca, and we are looking for great people. So if you know high performers that have a great energy, that have great integrity, and also are very humble, and every day they go to work and they learn and grow. I wear a backpack to work every single day because I'm going to school every single day. I want to keep learning. I want to keep growing. I'm humbled. I work with great people that are making me better. We're looking for great people. So that's where you'll find us. And
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely
come
link
join our
down
team.
below just some couple links to your LinkedIn and Dave's Hot Chicken's website. And I guess for anyone listening out there, like
Great.
who made it this far listening, as you could tell, like this is an amazing company. They're doing things right, and they're obviously showcasing it. They're growing exponentially. So this is sort of a culmination of all the work that goes behind the scenes to make that amazing product. So if you haven't already, please stop by a Dave's Hot Chicken. If you're in the Valley, Northridge, North Hollywood, there's tons of locations in LA. I promise you it's worth the experience. It's worth the hype. So Sam, thank you again for the opportunity for being on the podcast today. And we will catch you guys on the next one.